You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big fan of the Olympics, especially the vintage history, especially with Stella Walsh, who may or may not been intersex. She finished ahead of some Canadian athletes and cost us at least one gold medal in the Olympics before 36. But this case, it's quite interesting. It has nothing to do with failing sex tests. It was basically a man dressed as a woman who was actually a man that was in major international events. Her name is Heinrich Ratjen, born November 20th, 1918, and who passed away in 2008. She was born Dora Ratjen, a German athlete competed for Germany in the women's high jump at the 36 Summer Olympics at Berlin, finishing fourth, but was later determined to be male and or intersex. In some news reports, he was erroneously referred to as Hermann Ratjen and Horst Ratjen. A field containing the finals of an investigation conducted in 38 and 39 in Ratjen's life was made public by Der Spiegel in 2009. Now, he was born in Ershoff near Bremen into a family described as simple folk. The father, Heinrich, stated in 38, when the child was born, the midwife called over to me, Heini, it's a boy. About 5 minutes later, she said to me, it is a girl after all. 9 months later, when the child, who had been christened Dora, was ill, a doctor examined the child's genitalia and, according to Heinrich, said, let it be. You can't do anything about it anyway. Dora stated also in 38, my parents brought me up as a girl, and I therefore wore girls' clothes all my childhood. But from the age of 10 or 11, I started to realize I wasn't female, but male. However, I never asked my parents why I had to wear women's clothing, even though I was male. In his teens, Dora began competing successfully as a girl at sports, apparently being too embarrassed to talk about what was happening to him. In 36, he took part in the Olympics, his teammate Gretel Bergman stating, I never had any suspicions, not even once. In a communal shower, we wondered why she never showed herself naked. It was grotesque that someone could still be that shy at the age of 17. We just thought, she's strange, she's odd. But no one knew or noticed anything about her different sexuality. In 38, he competed at the European Athletics Championship and won the gold medal with a world record jump of 1.67 meters, 5 foot 5 and 3/4 inches. Now, in 39, he broke the world record in the high jump, but Dorothy Taylor Odom was suspicious of Ratjen, the British athlete, saying, they wrote to me telling me I didn't hold the record, so I wrote to them saying she's not a woman, she's a man. They did some research and found her serving as a waiter called Hermann Ratjen, so I got my world record back. Odom's world record was formally recognized by the sport world governing body, the IAAF, in 1957. Now, on September 21st, 1938, she took an express train from Vienna to Cologne. The conductor of the train reported to police at the station in Magdeburg that there was a man dressed as a woman on the train. Ratjen was ordered off the train and questioned by the police. He showed his genuine documents which said he was a woman, but after some hesitation, admitted to being a man and told his story. A physician was summoned and after examination pronounced Ratjen to be male. However, the physician described Ratjen's intersex genitalia as having a coarse, scarred stripe. It stated his opinion that with this organ, sexual intercourse would be impossible. The athlete was arrested and sent to the Holstein Sports Sanatorium for further tests with the same results. Criminal proceedings continued until 10 March 39, when the public prosecutor stated fraud cannot be deemed to have taken place because there was no intention to reap financial reward. Dora promised the authorities he would cease engaging in sport with immediate effect. The athlete's father, Heinrich, initially insisted that Dora should continue to be treated as a female, but on 29 March 39, wrote to the police chief of Bremen, following the change of the registry office entry regarding the child's sex, I would request you change the child's first name to Heinrich. The gold medal won by Ratjen was returned, and his name was expunged from the records. Now, according to Der Spiegel, Dora, then Heinrich Ratjen, was later called himself Heinz, was issued a new ID and work papers and taken to Hanover by the Reichsbahnstate as a working man. He later took over the running of his parents' bar, refusing requests for interviews before his death in 2008. Now, what's kind of weird about this whole situation, ladies and gentlemen, because there was no monetary gain here, and he wasn't really the best high jumper at the time. Now, in 1966, Time magazine reported that in 1957, Dora had presented as Herman, a waiter in Bremen, who tearfully confessed that he had been forced by the Nazis to pose as a woman for the sake of the honor and glory of Germany. Sighed Herman, for 3 years I lived the life of a girl who was most dull. Now, in the film Berlin 36, it presented a fictionalized version of the story presented by Time. In this version of Ratjen's story was presented in the background of the movie. The Nazis supposedly wanted to ensure that Hitler would not be embarrassed by a Jewish athlete winning a gold medal for Germany at the Olympics. Now, Der Spiegel also disputed the assertion that Ratjen was a tool of the Nazis, as presented by Time in the movie, stating, "It's not clear if Time ever spoke to Ratjen. The information about him in the article is meager and imprecise, to say the least." Now, there was a CBC documentary that just came out recently, claiming that a male Nazi high jumper who competed as a woman is really behind sex testing at the Olympics. Now, athletes are facing now a new era of eligibility policies, but Heinrich Ratjen was probably not the inspiration. Now, according to the article, talked about in 1936, the claim in the CBC and NPR podcast that Dora, as a German teenager with a talent for high jump, was recruited by the Nazis and gave an unusual task, pretend to be the girl. Heinrich was told that he must adopt a whole new gender and identity in order to bring glory to the Nazis. For several years, Ratjen undertook this mission, winning medals meant for women. Once his task was complete, he disappeared from sport and returned his life as a man. Now, in 2021, the IOC released its framework on fairness, inclusion, and non-discrimination on the basis of gender identity and sex variations, a non-binding set of principles to offer guidance around the subject. However, for this upcoming Olympics in Paris, the matter of sex testing is left up to the discretion of governing bodies for individual sports. Now, Ratjen, according to CBC report, went to girls' schools, wore girls' clothes, and never thought anything of it. Now, around age 10, Ratjen later recounted, he began to experience changes to his body and began questioning his gender identity. As he got older, he got involved in women's sports and said even though his voice changed, he was teased by his female sports colleagues. Nobody really accused him of being a man in disguise. But you see, as in the present photo, there was no breast tissue visible. Now, at the 36 Olympics, he was 17 and finished 4th place. In 38, he broke the world record at a European women's event in Vienna, and he would have probably potentially lived many more years of his life as a woman had not been encountered with the police on the way home from that event in Vienna. When 2 women called the authorities to report seeing someone on the train they believed was a male in women's clothing. Now, the press at the time was banned from discussing Ratjen further. Based on available information, it seemed that Ratjen's exclusion from women's sport was not picked up outside Germany. Now, on January 11, 1939, a German court declared Ratjen to be legally a man. Now, the only statement Ratjen ever made to the press comes from a 1957 story to British tabloid Sunday People. In it, Ratjen allegedly admits I've been forced to take his female identity for the Nazis, but there's a reason to be skeptical of this article as written. Ratjen's quotes and details don't line up with other available evidence from the police report. Other quotes seem to be too good to be true. When you look back, it's silly to think of the things we foolish young Nazis used to do. At the time, Sunday People was overseen by an editor named Stuart Campbell, who had said that truth was dispensable if you could not approve a quote or a story. About the article itself and Ratjen's backstory, Adrian Bingham, co-author of Tabloid Century, the popular press in Britain, 1896 to the present, said, I would have thought that this instance would afford an interviewee outside the reach of other papers. He made me feel confident that no one would find out or complain if he made up these quotes. Very interesting. So, I mean, take it as you will. The Stella Walsh controversy has never been dealt with because, as a lot of people know, when she was murdered, he found out she was intersex, and the medals were never taken away. She didn't compete as a man as a woman. She was intersex. So all those Canadian medals that we would have got, we never got. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave it in the eye of the beholder. And it's kind of weird to look back on this and think, even with all the sex testing and even with the Stella Walsh controversy, this case has never really been solved and may never be solved. That's what I'm saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our Olympic podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Have a good one. Bye.